Welcome to Musings of a Cigarette Smoking Man. That title for our podcast comes from an X-Files episode title. Today we're embarking on a journey to explore the story of Jesus through a multifaceted lens. Moving beyond traditional religious interpretations, we'll be examining this narrative not just as a doctrine, but as a rich metaphor for profound human experiences and enduring philosophical concepts. Our exploration will take us through several key perspectives. First, we'll consider Jesus' life, death, and resurrection as a symbol of self-transcendence, the process of overcoming the limitations of the ego. Then we'll draw parallels with the concept of samsara, the cyclical nature of existence in Hindu philosophy. Next, we'll delve into Gnostic interpretations, particularly the role of the demiurge, offering alternative views on creation and divinity. Finally, we'll analyze the historical context of Christianity's rise within the Roman Empire, examining its political and social implications. Our goal is to uncover deeper meanings and lasting relevance for today, inviting a fresh perspective of this ancient story. Jesus as a metaphor for self-transcendence. The narrative of Jesus, viewed through a metaphorical lens, presents a powerful allegory for the transcendence of the ego. His teachings consistently challenge the status quo, urging followers to prioritize compassion, humility, and detachment from worldly possessions. These principles can be seen as direct antidotes to the ego-driven desires and attachments that often keep individuals trapped in cycles of suffering. Jesus' confrontations with established authorities, both religious and political, symbolize the struggle against ingrained patterns of thought and behavior. His willingness to challenge these norms represents the courage required to question one's own beliefs and assumptions, a crucial step in the process of self-transformation. The crucifixion, often the central focus of Christian theology, can be interpreted as the ultimate act of surrendering the ego. This sacrifice represents the letting go of personal ambitions, fears, and attachment to physical existence. Through this symbolic death, a path to resurrection and a higher state of being is opened. The resurrection symbolizes the emergence of a transformed self, liberated from the constraints of the ego. This new state of consciousness is characterized by a deeper connection to the divine, a sense of unity with all beings, and an unwavering commitment to love and compassion. The death-rebirth archetype, mirrored in countless myths and spiritual traditions, highlights the universal potential for individuals to transcend their limited selves and realize their true nature. This narrative resonates with psychological concepts such as individuation, the process of integrating all aspects of the self to achieve wholeness and spiritual awakening, a shift in perception that leads to a deeper understanding of reality. Echoes of samsara in the Christian story. Samsara, a cornerstone of Hindu and Buddhist philosophies, describes the cyclical nature of an existence: birth, suffering, death, and rebirth. This cycle is perpetuated by karma, the consequences of actions, and ignorance, the lack of true understanding of reality. Beings are trapped in samsara, endlessly repeating this pattern, driven by desire and attachment. Christian narratives, particularly the concept of being born into sin, can be seen as mirroring this cyclical predicament. The inherent imperfection and suffering in the world, as described in some Christian theologies, align with the concept of samsara's inherent suffering. Humanity is seemingly trapped in a cycle of earthly existence, marked by pain and mortality. The story of Jesus, however, offers a potential escape from this cycle. His resurrection and ascension can be interpreted metaphorically as a breaking of samsara, just as moksha, liberation in Hinduism, or nirvana, extinction of suffering, in Buddhism, represent freedom from the cycle. Jesus' triumph over death symbolizes the possibility of transcending earthly limitations. The promise of eternal life, central to Christian belief, can be seen as a parallel to escaping the cycle of rebirth. While the skeptics differ on interpretation. Specifics differ. Eternal life typically refers to an afterlife with God, whereas moksha and nirvana involve a cessation of individual existence in favor of unity with ultimate reality. The underlying aspiration is similar: liberation from the constraints of samsara. Does the Jesus story offer a Western parallel to escaping the cycle of existence? This is open to interpretation, but the themes of sacrifice, transformation, and the promise of a higher state of being certainly resonate with the core tenets of Eastern philosophies concerning samsara and its transcendence. Gnostic perspectives: Jesus, Gnosis, and the Demiurge. Gnosticism, a diverse collection of religious ideas and systems prominent in the early centuries of Christianity, offers a radically different interpretation of the Jesus story. At its core, Gnosticism posits a dualistic cosmology. A supreme, unknowable God exists beyond the reach of human comprehension, contrasted with the Demiurge, a lesser, flawed creator God. The Demiurge, often identified with the God of the Old Testament in Gnostic texts, is seen as the architect of the material world, which is inherently imperfect and characterized by suffering. Unlike the Orthodox Christian view of a benevolent creator, the Demiurge is often portrayed as ignorant, arrogant, or even malevolent, trapping souls in this physical realm. In this framework, Jesus is viewed as an emissary or messenger sent from the true God to awaken humanity to their divine potential and reveal the path to liberation from the Demiurge's creation. This liberation is achieved through gnosis, a Greek word for knowledge, but in the Gnostic context, it refers to a direct, intuitive understanding of spiritual truths rather than mere intellectual comprehension. The Gnostic Jesus doesn't primarily offer salvation from sin, as in Orthodox Christianity, but rather provides the knowledge necessary to escape the illusion of the material world and return to the true God. This interpretation positions Jesus as a liberator from a flawed creation, challenging the authority of both the material world and the demiurge who created it. The Gospel of Thomas, for example, presents sayings of Jesus that emphasize self-knowledge and inner transformation as the keys to spiritual awakening. The Roman Empire and shaping of Christianity. At the time of Jesus and the early apostles, the Roman Empire was a vast and powerful entity, characterized by its sophisticated infrastructure, legal system, and military might. However, beneath the veneer of order and prosperity lay a complex web of social hierarchies, political intrigue, and religious diversity. Within this context, Christianity emerged as a small, marginal sect, initially viewed with suspicion and sometimes subjected to persecution. The early Christians, often drawn from the lower strata of society, challenged the established religions and social norms of the empire. Their monotheistic beliefs clashed with the polytheistic traditions of Rome, and their emphasis on love, compassion, and equality threatened the existing power structures. A pivotal moment in the history of Christianity occurred in the 4th century with Emperor Constantine's Edict of Milan in 313, granting religious tolerance throughout the empire. Constantine's subsequent involvement in church affairs, most notably the Council of Nicaea in 325, marked a turning point in the relationship between Christianity and the Roman state. The adoption and institutionalization of Christianity by the Roman Empire transformed it from a diverse set of beliefs into a structured religion that to some extent served the empire's interest. The standardization of Christian doctrine, the establishment of a hierarchical structure of the church, and the suppression of dissenting views were all influenced by political considerations. The implications of power, politics, and empire building on the development of Christian doctrine and practice are significant. The Roman Empire's embrace of Christianity shaped its theological development, organizational structure, and cultural influence, leaving a lasting impact on the core of Western civilization. Synthesis and modern relevance. By examining the Jesus story through these diverse lenses, a richer, more nuanced understanding emerges. The self-transcendence metaphor highlights the personal journey of overcoming ego and limitations, Parallels with samsara connect the narrative to universal themes of cyclical existence and the yearning for liberation. Gnostic interpretations offer alternative perspectives on creation, divinity, and the path to spiritual awakening. And the historical context of the Roman Empire reveals the complex interplay between religious belief, political power, and social change. The contemporary relevance of these interpretations is profound. Viewing Jesus metaphorically can empower individuals to navigate their own spiritual journeys, detaching from dogma and embracing a more personal, experiential understanding of faith. Understanding the historical co-option of religion sheds light on the dynamics of power structures today, encouraging critical analysis of institutions and ideologies. Furthermore, these ancient ideas resonate with modern psychology, philosophy, and critiques of materialism and societal control. The call for self-transcendence aligns with psychological models of personal growth and self-actualization. The critique of the material world echoes philosophical concerns about consumerism and the pursuit of superficial values, and the Gnostic emphasis on inner knowledge and liberation from illusion speaks to contemporary anxieties about manipulation and the search for authentic meaning in a complex world. Today we've explored that Jesus is a metaphor for self-transcendence, escaping samsara-like cycles, a Gnostic liberator, and a figure shaped by Roman power. The Jesus narrative functions as a powerful myth with enduring relevance. The story of Jesus is kind of hidden into so many of our movies and in literature and entertainment. And nowhere better is this seen than in the Matrix trilogies and Fight Club. We see Neo in the Matrix as a Messiah figure with a prophecy of the One. Neo is foretold as a savior figure destined to liberate humanity from bondage, which is the Matrix or the Demiurge, mirroring messianic prophecies. He has miraculous abilities and enlightenment. Neo develops powers beyond ordinary humans, manipulating the Matrix, akin to miracles, and brings enlightenment about the true nature of reality. Death and resurrection. Neo dies, killed by Agent Smith, and is resurrected, revived by Trinity's kiss/belief, a direct parallel to Christ's resurrection, signifying victory over death or the system. Sacrifice for humanity. Neo ultimately sacrifices himself in revolutions to broker peace between humans and machines, saving Zion, a selfless act for the salvation of his people. Trinity analogy. A potential discussion around Neo, the Son, Morpheus the Father, /John the Baptist figure, and Trinity, the Holy Spirit /faith, as a symbolic trinity. The writer who developed the Matrix also wrote Terminators, and she meant it as a ongoing allegory about technology and humanity. And in the Matrix, we can see her vision shaped by the Jesus story. Also, Fight Club, which is a movie and book I love. Chuck Palahniuk bought $6,000 leather pants to go on the Tonight Show, whichever show it was, when he first got published. And I've always thought about doing something outrageous with my book money if it ever comes. But I don't think leather pants are for me. Fight Club, a subversive Christ figure, anti-materialism and counterculture leader. Tyler Durden preaches against the sins of consumerism and modern emptiness, gathering followers, disciples, who abandon their old lives, reminiscent of Jesus challenging societal norms and calling disciples. Suffering and sacrifice. The philosophy embraces pain and self-destruction, hitting bottom. It's a path to enlightenment or rebirth. The narrator's ultimate sacrifice of Tyler Durden himself can be seen as a necessary death for salvation from the destructive ideology. Creating a new world order, Project Mayhem, while violent and anarchic, It represents a radical attempt to tear down the old corrupt system and build something new, a distorted reflection of establishing a kingdom. Charismatic figures and rules. Tyler establishes strict rules and a distinct philosophy that followers adhere to unquestioningly, similar to the following of a religious leader. The narrator's resurrection. The ending, where the narrator kills Tyler, seemingly takes control, can be viewed as a form of transformation or rebirth after confronting his demons. These modern myths use and sometimes subvert traditional religious archetypes. I think it's intentional, and is a way to talk about religion while making it sexy and cool. There's a hopeful sacrifice of Neo in the Matrix, kind of versus the nihilistic undertones in Fight Club. But they're both pretty badass as far as movies go. At least they were when I saw them as a teenager. I first saw The Matrix in school. It was junior high in my art class. Had a hella cool art teacher, like most art teachers in the public school system. And first time I saw The Matrix, it blew my mind. And it's the gift that keeps on giving, really. Seeing that sci-fi context is a way to speak about the system, the demiurge, whatever you want to call it, these systems of control that exist around us and are used to suck value and labor from us. It's important that people understand what it is we face as a society and as individuals, because this shit can be very dangerous if you're not aware of what the system is and how it operates. And it's a part of our spirit as Americans to create art that is a little bit subversive, and we can make money being subversive, and that's a good thing. And it's the role of artists and filmmakers to shine a light on the ways we're being used and manipulated as batteries in the Matrix. In a Fight Club, it shouldn't be down to counterculture figures to create fucking communes of terrorists, of domestic terrorists, to bring about change. But that exists in the realm of fiction. So all we can do is vote and organize politically, which we should be doing. And I tell everybody I know to be talking with their friends, their family, their coworkers, if they can get away with it, about what's been going on with COVID, the federal government's attempt to shove communism down our throats, and this hijacking of our institutions by these radical leftists. I'm not anti-left because I just woke up one day and don't like, and thought I'd just hate on one specific political ideology out of the rest. They have gone out of their way, and it's been their stated mission to subvert the traditional values of the United States, which they have drawn first blood. They have taken it upon themselves to infiltrate our institutions, and they're acting in bad faith. And some of the Democratic supporters do not know any better and don't have the time for making a living to study political systems enough to understand they're being used to destroy their own society. And anyone who is stuck in these online echo chambers, you need, as gently as you can, get these people to engage in opposing perspectives. An opposing viewpoint is not going to hurt you. It's going to help you grow. And even if it's a godless commie or a alt-right Nazi, you need to understand what other people believe. It's vital to your survival in this world. And in my life, I've actively sought out of opposing viewpoints to try to understand other people and to get along with them. And it's not some kind of diplomatic high-mindedness. It's a survival mechanism. We have to get along with each other. And we do that by understanding and talking to each other. Understanding other cultures' beliefs. But also not coexisting with shit that's meant to hurt us. And what the Democratic Party has done is to let themselves be taken over by hardcore communists with a very specific political agenda that is fundamentally anti-American. President Obama said to his cronies that we are out with the intent to fundamentally alter what the United States is. And as more and more his true identity as a serious subversive force in American politics is being known. And he hoodwinked everybody. I voted for him twice. It wasn't until later that I actually had the time to look into his history and background and his policies and his executive orders and his national security directives. It's all terrible for the United States people. He is intentionally sowed division and been a race baiter in ways that we are not going to recover from for 100 years. And the alt-right has a duty, because no one else is going to come save us. We have to be better than the left and stronger than the left by being examples of what this country is made of. And I'm very proud, and I've said this in my last podcast, I'm very proud that the silent majority did not resort to freaking out or violence or self-sabotage, but remained calm and voted their way out of the communism of the COVID crisis. And, they survived a very intense, and it's ongoing, these ongoing attacks on the American personhood and sovereignty. And it's going to take a collective come to Jesus moment to overcome what the Democrats have brought in. And I think adopting a more comprehensive understanding of Jesus and through imitation of Christ, we can heal as a country, start to work towards a better future for everybody that's in line with our constitutional beliefs and libertarian values. More freedom. Less freedom is never going to be the answer. Anytime the government is asking you to give up freedom, they're trying to get something out of you. They're trying to do something you would not normally let them do. And they will use any excuse or any crisis to shove terrible policies down our throats, like they did with the Patriot Act and the NDAA. And we're still dealing with the consequences of the Iraq War and all that shit that got pushed through when the country was mourning 9/11. And we're going to have to undo a lot of terrible shit, and it's going to take a lot of time. But we can do it. I have immense faith in the American people. Thanks for being with me today. And tune in next week, and we'll cover some more cool shit. Thank you.